The Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast.
We've now caught up. We are now actually recording this just a few days before people will hear it. So this is the most like podcasters we've ever been.
Yeah, well, that was true of last week, too. That's why we were able to plug Andy being on your show and Harper and Will being on the show.
Oh, and how'd that go, Seth? How did me being on your show go?
Well, that's the thing, Andy. I'm glad you brought that up, and I hope everybody took the plug, because it turns out the plug paid off. New York Magazine, Vulture.com, every week does Who Won Late Night, and I'm happy to say that Andy Samberg won Late Night this week.
Whoa!
Hot off the press,
That's always your goal. you just for anybody, for Yorma, I guess.
Yeah.
Andy's been on Seth's show before and has said as a joke, "Did we win Late Night, Seth?"
Yeah.
I knew that.
And I feel as though he would have won it before, except for the fact that he called it out so hard.
Yeah, they had to wait.
By the way, half of the article is about them explaining, yeah, we know he said it, but that's not why.
It's a conversation.
The best thing about it is genuinely 6 weeks ago, maybe more,
Definitely more, I think.
Andy Shoemaker and I started a text chain about how had the French pole vaulter who knocked the bar over with his dong happen when we were all at SNL together, we definitely would have done it on Update with Andy as that dude. And
1,000.
then all three of us just kept texting jokes.
Yeah.
And then decided at the end of the text chain, well, we should just do this in 8 weeks when you come on. And yesterday morning, all the script was, I went back in the text chain and transcribed the texts.
Don't say anymore. No, I can't wait to watch this.
It played just as you would hope.
Oh,
It played
yeah.
great.
Wow, great.
And it was the rarest case where you are making your friends laugh and then you say, we should just do this on TV. And then we did, and we won Late Night. Kevin Miller, who's both, our old friend, a producer on this podcast, a producer on Late Night, the segment producer who produced the segment, Andy, he did say to me, Andy really grew up because when we were reading it, he said at one point, I think balls might be a little too rough a word.
I did.
It was a little too dirty for you.
It was about how he also knocked over the hurdles.
Yeah, he couldn't do hurdles either because he has giant balls.
Yeah, that his giant balls are going to. I was like, I think we should just keep it to dong. I think balls conjures too many weird visuals. And he was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big moment.
The dick in the box guy.
Who's this stately gentleman?
Yeah.
Might as well be wearing a top hat.
Parenthood really changed you.
Also, there was a long bit in it that Andy wisely cut about the reason it had taken 8 weeks to have the French guy on our show is that travel's really hard for him.
It was pretty good.
Because it gets caught in where does it get caught in the airplane? The cabin door.
The cabin door. And then he tried to take a boat, but it acted simply as an anchor.
And if he puts it over on one side, the boat just goes in circles.
That was the joke I was sad to lose.
And then the late ad was that he got here because he just started swinging it over his head, came as a helicopter.
Use it as a one-man helicopter.
That was obviously the lowbrow part of the week. There was some highbrow as well. The first segment of Andy was great. He talked about his movie Lee with Kate Winslet, and that was also very funny because we had a whole segment about, what was it? Andy talks earnestly about the film.
I had to answer questions earnestly to do right by the movie.
I saw a teeny clip of it on Instagram last night, and it just, everything you say seems more and more like a setup to a bit.
I know, it's such a
it's
weird
impossible.
dynamic. It was really fun.
Oh my God.
But it was great. Definitely threaded that needle. Another wonderful highbrow, Will and Harper came on. Everything I possibly could have wanted. They spoke very lovingly about their film and were also super funny.
Oh my God, yeah.
Harper did this great bit where she came out. I had just done a closer look, and she said, Will and I were watching the first act on TV, and I said to him, you know what? Seth is smart. And the whole bit was they just realized.
They just got it.
And that Will lost a bet. Will had to pay $1,000 because it turned out.
Because he was like, Seth's not smart.
And then I went to by the time you're listening to this, you can go to Netflix now and watch this wonderful documentary. I went to a screening. I moderated a panel at the Paris Theater. They did a New York premiere of the movie. And I went out and I asked Will the first question, and he answered in made-up French. Le jupon, le bouquet, le biron, apostille, le chaperon, le auto. And then I said, what are you doing? And he said, I thought because it was the Paris Theater.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
clearly.
My Lord.
And the surprise for everyone there is that Wig and Paula Pell got up on stage and sang the closing song live.
Ooh.
Really, really cool.
That is a treat.
Gunning for the Oscar already.
Gunning.
It's on Netflix now, right?
It's on Netflix now. Yeah. Now, I saw Dratch at the Will and Harbor premiere, and I was talking to her about the fact that my kids go to school near where she lives, and sometimes I see her on the street, and I hadn't seen her this year. And she said, "What time do you come?" And I said, 8:20. She said, "Oh, that's usually when I'm doing the New York Times spelling bee."
Oh.
And I said, Sandberg queen bees it every day. And you would have been so thrilled. She was like, "What?" Like Dratch spun out so hard by the fact that you queen bee. And she had all the questions you would have wanted her to ask.
Yeah.
Does he use hints? Does he have the 2-letter clues? Does he? And so.
Yeah. I mean, I came up one short yesterday, as you know, Seth.
Yes. Alluvial was the word.
You want to update everybody?
It's just spelling bee wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it most days again. I'm still in a crazy zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I missed 2 since the last cast,
Mm-hmm.
and both times it was by one word,
Yeah. It's really exciting for
and
me.
then got it every other day. And, obviously texted Seth. And I text Keeve now too, and he very sweetly every time says, "Proud of you, for real." And it's weird because I know he means it and also is making fun of me, and I really like that tone.
Yeah.
It makes me feel
It's a
good.
50-50.
It's a quality key 50-50.
I know it's important to you, and so I care about it because I know you care about it, and I love you.
We had curriculum night at our school, and a dad worked for New York Times Games, and he wanted to thank us for the constant shout outs.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Also, we did a You Burnt on our show where he talked about New York Times Games, and I feel like it made it over to them. And so they also told me, though, there's a new sports connections-y type game.
Whoa. So just real quick, Seth, I actually just thought of this. I do have screen grabs because of things I sent you that they didn't accept in spelling bee that we were pissed off about.
Yeah, these are words that are not acceptable words.
Yeah, and I take a screen grab right when it says not in word list and send it to you
Yeah.
and go, "Duh fuck?" That's usually the text.
Yep. So what are some of the ones?
Quado.
Yeah.
That's fuck.
They did not accept wank room on June 27th.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Doink.
Well, that's
that's
heartbreaking.
classic. That's
Yeah.
January 15th. No doink. That might be it.
There's a chance that maybe based on the pod, you know how at the end of every year, I feel like Merriam-Webster adds a few like words of the year.
Yeah.
Like TikToker all of a sudden is a word, but it wouldn't have been. And so maybe Quado, just based.
I thought for sure you were going to say doink.
Yeah, so did I.
No.
Quado is so much more difficult to get in.
No.
Can I say one other thing just because it came up in my screen grabs?
Yeah.
I'm such a fucking cool guy. I got the mini in 13. That's my all-time high.
13 seconds.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't think you can impress me with anything about the Mini.
Here's the thing about the Mini, though, is that some people do it on their laptop, I think, and can get like 5 seconds because they're typing.
Yeah, which
This
is crazy.
This is iPhone specific. And honestly, it got more difficult with some of the updates when the iPhone got a little sloppier.
Today is Friday. People will be listening to this pod on Monday. You will have appeared on SNL
Oh.
Unless I get cut.
unless you get cut. So this is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Our listeners right now or in the future, they know the answer to what we are talking about now. We don't know the answer.
Exactly.
Right.
I think you're not going to get cut.
I think it's highly unlikely, but like we'll see how it goes at dress.
Right after you finished our taping, you went over to the SNL table read,
I did.
and the sketch that we're talking about played red hot in the room.
I think so. Yeah. It's a big old piece with a lot of really funny people in it. And it was, first off, I know I'm like a broken record, all the ex-SNLers, but it was super bizarre to do the table read on 8 in the main studio for me.
Yeah.
I know everyone's used to it now.
I was going to say, where do they do it now?
Yeah, so they moved it from a tiny room to the studio floor during COVID, and I think people liked it, and that's what they still do. But it does feel crazy.
And everyone at the table has a little microphone in front of them, which was not the case for us, right?
No, we had nothing.
It was recorded, but it was not amplified.
Yeah. So it's like, on the one hand, when I walked in, I was like, oh, you can really hear people. That's kind of cool. Like it sounds the way it would sound in the sketch way more.
Wow.
But yeah, it was trippy. It was trippy, but also fun. And I hope it went well.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if all the headlines are Saturday Night Dead and we're like, it was good in the room?
Andy, I could tell you're trying to not spoil it, but we can't spoil it for them.
Well,
Right.
Yeah.
They're in the future.
Good point.
They could spoil it for us.
Right.
Yeah, write in and tell us what you thought of it.
Yeah.
I always hesitate though, because if things change so much there.
That's true.
Like it's Friday. By the time the show happens tomorrow, it might be completely different for all I know. And then I was the one who gave up all the beans on what it was supposed to be and then got changed and people are like mad or embarrassed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next week we could ask you how accurate it was.
Okay, great.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do that. Good
Perf.
call for next week. Anybody else have any housekeeping? Yorm, you told us you just had an argument about American politics in a Finnish sauna.
Yeah, well, naked, which is just a weird way to have an argument.
Yeah.
Sitting between two pretty big Finnish guys who are also naked. I haven't done that before. So
Towels around your waist or just butt naked exposed?
butt naked. Yeah.
And it's just like a cedar planked room with steam in it or like hot air, and you just sit with your bare butt onto the wood where someone else's bare butt just was?
No. You have little like courtesy towels that you bring in with you that you sit on, but you're naked. And then they were drinking beers pretty heavily and listening to like kind of loud EDM music, which not too many people in the sauna do that. It's kind of frowned upon. Even I know that, as an American. I learned pretty quick.
But I feel like you have the energy where you would conjure that.
Conjure those two guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a sauna energy where I feel as though if they watched you walk in,
Yeah.
they would say, I think that guy's going to be okay with our vibe.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Was this a sauna you had been recommended, or did you just like walk down the street and go, I'm going to go in this place?
They're everywhere, Keith. I'm surprised there's not one in my room. It's the land of saunas.
Yeah.
Right. And is that the one you did, the one in your hotel?
Yeah, and to give a little shout out, there's a restaurant called Lole, which means steam. It's talking about the essence of steam that comes from the sauna. And there's like 4 saunas in that restaurant. And I happen to know Jasper, who's the owner of that restaurant. And I went to all of those 4 saunas. I learned all about the history of saunas and all the different kinds of them. And it was great. But this wasn't that sauna. This was a different sauna with 2 naked guys that I had a very aggressive argument with.
Did each sauna have a different, you had to tour all 4, did they? Was it like one was with tile and one's wood and one has eucalyptus or something? Was that?
They're all wood, but there's different kinds of smoke. Or lole.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a smoke
like it.
sauna.
So bumming out. Your pronunciation is bumming Andy out. Sorry.
So excited to say it every time.
I'm so excited for it.
I think my pronunciation might be right.
Yorm,
Yeah.
forgive this, but I think it's probably what everyone listening wants me to ask.
Sure.
So is like everyone hard, semi, fully flass?
We were all flaccid.
Can you imagine if you had said anything else?
It was such an earnest answer.
Okay.
Very, very clearly what it was supposed to be.
Oh, good question, Andy.
You're like, I was hard. I did my part. I was full
Well,
tilt.
we were listening to EDM though, Andy, so anything could have gone,
Yeah, that's hard.
That can get you excited.
Oh, dag, yeah.
And then last question about it. So they're drinking beers, like ice cold beers. That actually sounds fantastic. But is that part of?
No.
Because in America, you would never do that because it's thought of as a place where you're like detoxing.
If you really want to know about this, these guys were rural Finnish dudes who were doing a work thing. They were like in the Coast Guard or something like that, from what I understood. And they were getting wrecked before their like
Yeah.
physicals the next day.
Right. They're having fun.
Yeah.
Def talked about it when Andy came to Helsinki to watch me run a marathon. The day after a marathon, we went to a place. Josh found a restaurant. And remember, he said it was like, the concierge says it's like Finnish tapas. It's called sloppis. And
Yeah.
I
We were
really
like,
don't think that's
no.
right. But the whole time we kept saying, this is really good sloppis. And to this day, I don't know. So maybe while you're there, dig into it, Norm.
Yes. I'll try to find it. Slappas.
I bet Josh will be able to find the restaurant. We're going to send you to get some sloppis
Okay.
because it really was great.
Yeah, I'll go tomorrow.
This episode, we're going to talk about the 2007-2008 writer's strike, which was announced at the after party for the Brian Williams Feist show.
Mm,
Do you guys have any memory of finding out that the strike was officially on?
No.
I don't.
I do remember I was very upset. And I remember the switch being thrown of like a super fun after party. I had felt like the start of the season had been so hot. And then I think Steve Higgins came over and told me the strike is on. And I just felt my bones immediately hurt. The strike starts. It does end up going 100 days. And we have a strike show in November. November 17th, Amy Poehler pulls together a fundraiser at UCB Theater, her theater in New York City. It is very exciting to just get back together and talk about doing a show. It was all sketches that had previously been written in honor of Pencil Down. And we asked all the writers to pick a sketch that they had never produced on the show and whether or not they would want to produce it. And we had to make our own cue cards, which was a lot harder than I think any of us thought it would be.
Who had the best handwriting?
I don't even remember, but it wasn't Wally. It's not like Wally came in and did cue cards for us.
Did you, because I watched the little video, which was great and very nostalgic, and I will say made me cry 3 times, which is says something about my state of mind. But Seth, did you actually hold the cue cards? Like, it was mentioned at one point that you were holding cue cards.
I believe I maybe did hold cue cards at some point. I think different people had to hold cue cards for different sketches.
Yeah, I think you held them for your sketch that you wrote.
That's pretty cool.
I think.
So now you know how Wally feels.
I do finally know how Wally feels. I do want to take a quick step back and say that the course of that 100 days was very depressing and very sad. And it was also way worse timed than the last strike, which was over the course of the summer. This was the end of the fall, all through the winter. We were picketing and it was like gray and miserable and slushy and gross. With that said, we all hung out a ton. And looking back, I kind of think it was fun.
Well, the fact also that everyone went to UCB to just put on a show because everyone was like, it just shows that everyone that was working there would do SNL for free.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot of jobs that if you were forced to go on strike, the auto workers don't go, I'm still going to put some windshields in over the break. And so it just shows how lucky we all were to work there.
Yeah, for real.
So I asked Polar, because she really was in charge of this, and it did raise money. Did you just say that it was for charity? It was for the Writers Guild Fund. And she had to get permission from Lauren, who actually attended and watched the show and I believe had a lovely night. And she had to get permission from NBC and from the Writers Guild and everything, I think.
And I believe NBC was not super cool about it.
Oh, is that right?
I believe I asked Shoemaker. Oh. Shoemaker said Jeff Zucker was not happy that we were doing it.
Oh. But also when NBC is part of the system that's being on strike, and then you're asking them a favor while you're in a legal battle, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So all we did to prompt these was I said, do you have a memory of the UCB? Tell me anything you can remember because we don't remember anything. Here's Amy.
Hey guys, Amy Poehler here, longtime listener, first-time caller.
Woo!
I love your podcast so much and love all of you so much. Okay, UCB strike show. Yeah, like Yorma, I don't really remember anything, but I know we got permission to do it, or I don't even know if we did need to get permission. Let's just say we did. But it was really exciting because, first of all, Lauren came, which was, I don't know, just really nice. And we all just kind of put on a show. I remember getting props and costumes together and making a running list and going over who was going to do what scenes. I have incredible pictures from that night. I think I made it into some kind of iBook, like a flip book. And it's just the best goof around. I remember Michael Cera was the fictional host. Yola Tango was the fictional band. And Yola Tango, the members were friends of mine. And I guess in a way, so was Michael. So they all did us a favor. And the writers wrote their own cue cards and held them up and came out on stage. And it was one of those nights where the writers and actors were all working together to get the scene ready. And everybody just put up the stuff they wish they had been able to get on the show. Or maybe they put up the stuff that they were glad America never saw. The thing I remember the most, though, is Seth and I did Weekend Update, and I think Fred did Nicholas Fane, that character who reads from the news but doesn't have any takes. And we raised money for the WGA, I know that. And it was just an amazing time. I was stressed during the strike like you, Seth, but then I also had some awesome, amazing times during the strike too, like you. Lonely Island. So I'm straddling right in the middle. That's what she said.
I mean, first of all, can I just compliment how good a podcast voice Amy has developed?
Really, soothing
really
as
good.
F.
Yes.
So soothing.
A real pro.
Yeah.
That was a ASMR. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Yorm said it almost made him feel like he was in a sauna, but which one?
That one, the Lola for that one is
Oh,
like,
so it was that one.
That's all of them.
No, the Lola describes
It was
the
only,
steam.
keep saying 4 and then only have a word for one.
Yeah, smoke.
No,
We all know smoke.
Lola is the
We know
steam.
Lola. At the answer every time.
No, Lola is the thing.
No, Lola is this type of steam. There's different kinds of Lolas.
People listening right now are so mad we got back to saunas as soon as Amy was done.
They're like, oh, we were just finally getting some strike stuff.
By the way, can I say listening to that was the same as watching, like I was tearing up hearing her talk about it. It's very emotional and I felt really sweet and nostalgic.
It's very nice, Jorm. And also I think like you're not doing great. Like it's too easily.
You're crying too much.
That's too easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we love you.
Well, also, and I know I'm about to do the thing I just criticized you guys for doing. I also feel like the fact that you're crying after being in a sauna where you should be, everything should be out of you, and yet you're still generating tears.
Seth, this is interesting because you just said Jorm is sensitive like he came out of a sauna, but I'm curious which sauna.
Don't do this.
He doesn't know the other ones.
I'm saying the cedar one, and then there's also one that they make, which is like anybody can buy it. Bradley Cooper just got one. I don't know if I should put him on blast like that.
We should go to his house and use that one.
Oh yeah, let's go there now.
Boombox Berry. I actually asked.
Wait, hang on. We're walking to Bradley Cooper's house.
Hey, it's me, Jackson, Maine. Welcome to my house.
Hey, I just got out of the sauna.
Hey, there you are. Weird that you answered the door in character, Brad, but I mean Jackson.
Awesome Philadelphia Eagles jersey.
Can we use your sauna? Is it perhaps the same method they use in Lola?
Yeah, come on in. We don't listen to any EDM here. Only good old country rock.
Oh, so he talks like his character. So Bradley Cooper's still in character.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just want to say this may be always worth it to get Keeve to rock his Jackson Maine impression.
Well, now we're going to take the biggest tangent. Andy hosted the Golden Globes, and I'm still heartbroken to this day. Andy had a bit cut from the Golden Globes.
Oh, yeah,
he hosted it with Sandra Oh. It was fantastic. It was the year of A Star is Born. And of course, the thing that Andy most was drawn to in that film is when Jackson Maine pisses himself on stage.
Yeah.
At the Grammys.
Yeah.
So fucking dope. So sad and funny at the same time.
Right.
A very effective scene and one that you have never seen in a movie before, certainly.
Yep.
And so we were going to do our version of it where Sandra and I would come out and I was dressed like Jackson Maine. And she was like, our next category is blah, blah. And I would be like, yo, did we win? Did we win, baby? And then she's like, oh, no, he's been drinking again. Sandra, baby, did we win it? Stars Born. And then I had a pee rig in my pants. And we blocked it. It was everyone as far as I was concerned, that was working on it in the writing room. We were all very excited about the piece.
Yeah.
And then the P rig didn't fire at our one rehearsal. And then the network basically killed it because they were like, it's too lowbrow. We don't want to do that on the Globes. And I'm like, yeah, the Globes are super highbrow. Everyone's drunk and looking at their phone the whole show. I really don't think it's going to matter.
Oh, wait. Andy, I will say two things. One,
yeah,
you must have been so mad when the P-rig didn't fire the one time you had a chance to show it off.
True. Also, they gave me pants that were like water resistant. I'm not kidding.
So you couldn't see.
They were like khakis that were water resistant. So it didn't show up and everyone was like, it didn't work. And I was like, well, I'm soaking wet.
The other thing is, wasn't there a second P-rig? Didn't you pee yourself twice on like different sides?
I think, yeah.
I think you told me that like you peed yourself once.
Yes.
And then there was a second rig.
Oh, and then more was supposed to come out.
But down the different leg. And so then Sandra was like, oh,
That's
man.
right.
Oh,
right.
that's
Oh,
quality.
yeah. I was like, oh, here comes more. Yeah.
Oh, that's real deja vu.
I like the amount of prep I put into like making sure I have a run list of things for us to talk about on this podcast, and the fact that Bradley Cooper maybe or maybe didn't buy the sauna that Jorm was talking about led us down this path.
Yeah, that's fair. You can check up on that.
I think Amy and I did cut jokes at Update, which played pretty hot, like jokes that had bombed but were funny jokes.
How do you think people got to come in, like the audience? That would be a question I would have asked at Polar's, like, because the UCB theater, how many people do you think it even fit? 80?
No, more than 80, probably 200.
Well, and a lot of it was like people from the show too, right?
I think some of them were people that worked at SNL. Is that what you're saying, Jorm?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. By the way, I think the night raised like $1,800.
Yeah, because it's not like they can charge a lot.
You don't have to say that.
I'm just saying, like, because we gave seats away to like friends and family, like it wasn't.
Oh, I see, yeah.
The Lonely Island podcast is supported by Airbnb. Hey, Jorm.
Hi.
You know how last summer my family and I circumnavigated the globe?
I do, and I was jealous.
Took a balloon, went around the world, took somewhere between 79 and 81 days, and while I'm doing it, I'm thinking I should Airbnb my place, right? I would be nuts not to look into it. You know how expensive it is taking a balloon? Just the propane to keep it aloft?
I know you spent an arm and a leg on that trip, and I commend you for wanting to chip away at that nut.
Nut. Of course, because otherwise you're stressed the whole trip.
Otherwise, you're a fool.
You're a fool. You said it, and you're the first to say it. A lot of people don't realize they might have an Airbnb of their own right under their noses. It's a low-lift way to make sure you're using the space and even earning some money. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
Don't be a fool. Crack that nut.
Support comes from RocketMoney, but I don't have to tell you that, Yorm.
No, you don't.
Now, just stop me if you know this already, but most Americans think they spend about $62 per month on subscriptions, but the real number is closer to $300. You didn't stop me, I noticed. So is this new?
I didn't know that, but go ahead.
Even if just a couple of subscriptions fall off your radar, those recurring payments you don't even know about can really add up. Yorm, you need to stop me if you already know this stuff.
No, I would stop you, believe me.
What's a subscription you have that you forgot about and then realized you had been just hemorrhaging cash? Just toss one out.
I'm not going to name names, but there was one that was 3 years of me paying like $20 a month. I lost a lot of money.
You really need RocketMoney.
I do.
If you did, you could say something like this next sentence. Thanks to RocketMoney, I'm no longer losing money because of subscriptions I forgot about. Wouldn't that have felt nice to say that sentence, Yorm?
Yeah, after like hundreds of dollars? Totally.
I just said the sentence. It felt great, even though for me personally, it was a lie. But for you, it was true. I'm very responsible. RocketMoney is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Stop me if this sounds like something you'd want, or stop me if...
I will.
Okay.
Believe me.
All right. You just say, stop right there. Here we go. Here's something you can do at RocketMoney. You can easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to keep track of your spending every week, every month. See your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going.
Stop it.
Okay, great.
Stop it because I love it.
Okay, good. That makes sense to me. You're still the Yorm I know. If you hadn't stopped me, I'd be like, who is this guy? RocketMoney has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features.
That's a lot of money to have saved. That's pretty impressive.
Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/island. That's rocketmoney.com/island.
One thing happened in the show that then was a sketch on SNL, which is very telling that the writers all were given a chance to put stuff on its feet that they thought had been given a raw deal. And only one turned out to be good enough to be in the show.
What was in the show?
Jean K. Jean. The first time Jean K. Jean performed, which was Keenan as a French comedian.
Oh,
yeah.
Written by Tucker. And it crushed. Zut alors.
Oh my God, I love that.
Incroyable.
He would say Zut alors. He was like a black French comedian. So it was like basically like a earthquake type character.
Yeah.
It was like a Def Jam set, but if he was French.
Two things, Seth. We had made those little short that I guess we'll talk about on the Tina Fey episode, which is the first episode back from the strike. But I had made the little thing called Virginia Horsens with Wig just before the strike, but it hadn't aired because it was just a little throwaway piece. So we had one piece of tape that no one had ever seen. So we did put it up at this, and then it did air the first show back.
Great.
Also, Virginia Horsens rewatching at Kiev is the most I've ever seen a friend of ours act like you.
Yeah.
Like she,
yes.
There's literally like moves that she does that I'm like, oh my God, that's so Kiev doing a comedy bit.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
I was just doing it for her. I'm like, it's this guy, and he does this. And I was like, make sure your hands are like so nervous and sweaty. And
there was some hand gesture that she made that was very Just Two Guys too. Where it's like, just like, what is
to be
this?
clear, it's not me in real life. It's a character I do.
Yeah, sure.
It's my Just Two
I
Guys.
said you're doing comedy.
Yeah, just like your classic Jackson Maine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to get goaded into it. It comes when it comes.
It has to happen authentically.
Please? But just like, what would you say if I asked, like, hey, where'd you get the sauna?
I don't do it on demand. I'm not a monkey like you guys. I don't need it.
Oh, man. Don't make it about what we are and what you're not.
More of a director over here.
This guy's in post, he's very directory right now. He's in post.
Throw on a voice note, Yorm.
Yeah, throw in a voice note.
Okay. I have a voice note from the incomparable Michael Cera, who was the host that evening, and I haven't listened to it yet, so I'm going to cue it up.
Hey guys, it's Mike. Thank you so much for asking me to be on the show. I'm going to try and keep it brief because I'm in a movie theater and I don't want to my fellow patrons around me. So sorry.
Oh my God.
Wow. I mean, it's 16 years ago that we did this show, but I just remember being so delighted and so honored to be asked by Amy Poehler to do it. She just sent me a text, said, "Hey, we're doing this, and would you come and do it?" And I had to assume I was the very first person to be asked to do it. So I took it that way, and I was very pleased. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up soon, but my memories are, I don't really remember much because it's so long ago, but I had the best night ever. I remember Seth holding the cue cards for me and how
Someone yelled, "Shut up."
Incredible that seemed and surreal. And it was just so funny. And
That was again.
obviously, I only just showed up and rehearsed. I didn't
You're gonna get beat up?
I just went right on. So you guys could speak obviously much better to what it's like to work at SNL than I could, because that was really the only experience I had doing the show.
All right, that was far better than I thought it was.
So good.
Oh my God. Okay, did anyone recognize what the movie was?
It sounded like Scream, not Scream, like Speed or something. It had some urgency to it.
It might have been like Master and Commander.
Really great. Really funny.
It sounded like maybe like a ship at sea under duress.
Yeah, and people were having to yell to get over the din of a noise.
But people were also yelling at him to shut up.
Yeah.
So he's ruining the movie.
It was really well done.
Well, thank you, Michael. That was lovely.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Michael was just on my show, and we actually talked about this. And the thing I had forgot was his monologue, because we couldn't write a new monologue for him.
Ah, right.
Was old monologues. And so we had picked monologues that would be funny for him to read. So it was like Snoop Dogg and
I feel like it was Paris Hilton.
And then the craziest, it was Trump. It was Donald Trump's 2005, because if you can imagine, in 2007, it was very funny to listen to Michael Cera read the very bombastic, braggadocious intro that Donald Trump had when he had hosted in 05.
It's great to be here at Saturday Night Live. But I'll be completely honest, it's even better for Saturday Night Live that I'm here.
Should we keep listening to more voice notes?
Yeah, you do one.
Okay, so here is one from a writer that we've mentioned multiple times, Emily Spivey.
That strike show was so fun because we got to do sketches that didn't air on SNL. But the thing I remember most about it was having to write our own cue cards. And it felt like an endless Herculean nightmare. And I had such a new respect for Wally and the cue card guys after that. Because I remember sitting on the floor at UCB with a big marker writing these cue cards, and it just felt like it was never going to end.
There you go.
It's funny how writers are so loath to make cuts, but when you were doing your own cue cards, I think it really dawned on you, I might not need this chunk. I think we can cut it. I'll take this middle out. I feel like rule of twos gets it across. Well, I'll say something else about the night. Being together was so much fun. It was way too long. We let every writer pick a sketch. Very few of them crushed.
Yeah.
We remember the ones that did. There were some real long, draggy ones.
Did you have a sketch besides Weekend Update that you chose?
I did have a sketch, and I remember late in the show, I cut it. I said, you know what? I can feel the audience flagging. I'm going to cut my sketch. And then I went over to a couple other writers and said, hey, what do you think? Should we just cut ours? And I swear to God, I'm not going to name names. Every one of them said, God, I'd love to get it up on its feet. I was so mad.
No regard for the audience whatsoever.
I'm going to ask Yorma this. Yorma, do you remember what we did besides the Virginia Horsens?
Well, I watched at least a half an hour version, which was why I was crying.
So you got reminded.
But I ran so far, I thought it was great.
And then we had a special guest do the Adam Levine singing parts, which was Nora Jones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Also made me tear up as well, because just honestly, just for the sheer seeing us so young and being like, oh wow, we've all been friends for so long. It's really sweet.
And people showing up just to have a nice time.
Yorm, seeing us at that age, does it make you forgive us?
Oh man, that's such a
Here he goes.
complicated.
Here he goes. Waterworks.
Because I can just say, I'm sorry, and it's not your fault.
It's going to get him.
Oh, he's falling apart.
Because fuck him, that's why.
Fuck him, that's why. Still good.
Chose the ring.
How did we know she was game for this kind of stuff? Had we met her at the show? Because we had not made Incredibad yet. That was the summer to come.
Yes. She hadn't recorded Dream Girl, our album track.
Yes.
I think we bumped into her through mutual friends in New York because she was doing shows in New York and living there.
Just the nicest. And we couldn't believe she said yes. And it was so nice and cool of her to come do it.
It was. And for the And Your Hairy Butt line, I believe we put tons of hair glued to Fred's butt, right? And he pulled his pants down in front of everybody and it was all hairy.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe just have like a wig back there.
Yeah. That's the beauty of doing it live without the cameras is, you can go uncensored, no blurs.
You can show an actual hairy butt.
Yeah, no blurs, no beeps.
You guys, this is the brilliance of us doing this real time. I now just got a text from Nora Jones of her memories.
Oh, exciting.
It's awesome.
Hey, yeah, I just remember you guys asked me to be there and sing, and I was really excited. And I always felt kind of like an outsider, and I didn't know anybody well enough to feel completely comfortable, but I was so excited to be there. And I just remember it being really fun, and Yola Tango played. And at the end, when you guys all go up to the front to say the goodnights, I was kind of shy, and I think I dipped out because I was embarrassed or something. I don't know why, but I didn't realize that it was such a big deal to do the goodnights. Even though I'd done the show twice, I remember always wanting to be in the back, and everybody pushed me to the front. But I really bummed I missed the goodnights. That's all. At least I think I did.
I just want you to know, Nora, tears are pouring out of Yorma's eyes right now.
Thank you, Nora. She's got obviously maybe the best podcast voice of anybody. If you imagine a Nora and Amy podcast, then I mean.
It was good almost that she was late because I think everybody would have hated every other voice they heard this episode, including ours.
That's right.
A podcast with Amy, Nora, and you as Jackson Maine. Now you've got my money.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Oh, he did it.
Do the first line.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't take requests.
Do it. Seth did it.
You're proving that everybody can do it.
Told you guys.
It's more the spirit and joy in which you do it.
You know Forte and Wig do it at karaoke.
Oh, do they?
But Forte does the Lady Gaga part.
Oh, that's nice.
That makes sense.
And just screams.
Oh my God. Imagining Will going, ha, ha, wow, doing that whole rise part.
I was worried my wife was going to die. She was laughing so hard.
Sounds great.
It's a very fun song to sing. I'm not going to front.
Yeah. Maybe we could actually do a reading of my sketch, the one I cut.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's good, but I do remember it was a Christmas ad. And I think, by the way, the only good part is the beginning, which was, what do you get for the man who has everything? A second penis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is a joke my friend Pete Gross once said when we were watching TV. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try to write a sketch about that. So I didn't even come up with the best joke.
Maybe the only time in an episode where you had something that was a dick joke and we didn't.
Yeah. And I will say, sometimes people will say, when I do a Q&A at my show, they're like, is there something you wrote at SNL that you wish they'd done? My answer is always no, but there are 10 that I wish we hadn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I've got another one I'm going to throw up right now.
Hey, y'all, this is Jack McBrayer from such things as 30 Rock and this voice message right here. I was talking to Akiva about the UCB live shows we did during the writer's strike of ours is 2007. The one we did for 30 Rock was November 19th, 2007. And I think y'all had actually done y'all's before that. I don't remember the exact date. I remember Michael Cera hosted. I remember seeing Will Forte in Gold Lame? Question mark. Yeah. But of course, as I was just a spectator, it was really just so fun to see y'all doing your thing because of the love that y'all had for it. I always like just, tagging along to all the SNL folks because I got to see y'all doing your phenomenal job. And I was telling Akiva, I got to see how the sausage was made without having to actually make the sausage. And so that was always such a fun thing for me to witness. And yeah, y'all were just a hustling, fun. There was just love for what you were doing. You know, it felt kind of scrappy. All these network TV people who had clearly succeeded. I mean, you were at the pinnacle of what comedy was. And then you were able to just like get down and dirty in an improv theater basement. And all the proceeds were helping out people who had become unemployed. So I thought that was very special. I was honored that I got to be a part of that. And yeah, let's hope we don't have to do that again. All right, I hope this is helpful, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
Don't be fooled, anyone who's listening to this podcast. Jack McBrayer is a fucking asshole. Okay?
Bad guy. Classic bad guy. If you ask anyone in the know, bad guy.
The Will Forte one to someone just I don't want to ruin his. The truth is, he could still use that bit. Oh, you have a Forte one. Why don't you play the Forte voice note as a reply to this voice note?
Okay, great.
This is like an oral history, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
I don't really have any major memories from the strike show.
Oh, boy. Here we go. That was it. Thank you.
I didn't. It's the first time I listened to it.
This is a poorly sequenced oral history.
Yeah, I like it.
I remember it. He auditioned with it. He plays one of those robotic gold men that would sort of in Times Square.
Spray paint themselves gold.
He auditioned with it, and it was one of those things that when I saw it, I thought, oh no, he's so much funnier than I am. It's amazing.
There was a moment where there was 4 or 5 just white guys with brown hair who were brand new, and you were one of them.
Yeah.
That was a little tricky for you guys when no one knew the difference between Sudeikis, Hader, Forte, Seth.
It was a tough time to be one of the brown hairs.
Yeah.
It was a tough time.
You left me out of that?
I left out because your hair was big.
Yeah.
But then Hader and Sudeikis had I remember once one of my fake pitches on Monday was that the 3 of you were doctors and it was called Shaggy MDs.
Right. They were a little shaggy, too.
They were a little shaggy. Can I just say another thing about 2 things that are both wedding related? Forte, we've talked about, gave a speech at my rehearsal dinner and then Andy's rehearsal dinner as Hamilton.
Yeah.
And we only showed a little clip of it on my show one time because the rest of it's so inappropriate.
Yes.
And that clip, just this week, somebody posted it on TikTok and it's been making the rounds.
I saw it.
Uh-oh.
But again, it's fine. We showed it on NBC, so it's fine. But
Yeah.
Alexi, my lovely bride, said you should really read the comments because it's well edited by our wedding video company. It cuts back and forth from Forte to she and I laughing. And she said most of the comments are about how nice I look and how you're just wearing your shitty show sweater.
So nothing to do with Forte.
No. It's so funny. I'm like, I bet my comments are different.
By the way, couldn't be a better result.
No, a good result. A good result for the comments.
Yeah.
And you really can hear you and Hader and Sudeikis are 3 very audible laughs that you can hear. And then the other wedding thing I'll say, that Jack McBrayer, just in a couple weeks, is going to officiate my brother's wedding.
Oh, that's going to be a good wedding.
You ask for a better person to just be the voice of which love will be discussed. I really, truly can.
It's a great choice.
Yeah. All right. Do we have another?
Yeah, I've got one from SNL's own Fred Armisen. Let's see what he said. I did not listen to this. Here we go.
Hey, I'm recording from baggage claim in Istanbul, so apologies for all the background noise. What I remember from the UCB strike show is, first of all, that it was really exciting. And I remember it had been quite a few weeks since the strike started, so it felt really good to perform. And I remember Amy Poehler organized a lot of it. And then I remember, I think the cold open was, I played someone representing the AMPTP, and it was written for me. So it was one of those things, it's almost like when someone writes a political sketch, like it's something that I don't know how to do. I don't know how to write that way. I remember Yola Tango was the musical guest, and that was really cool. And then I also remember, I think we all did our makeup, meaning I have like a memory of having like, spirit gum or glue and like, fake mustaches and stuff, and everyone's sort of helping each other out, do that kind of thing. I know we had wigs, but I don't know how we did that. Or did we not have wigs? That's the part I don't remember. There's a lot I don't remember from it, but it was really fun and really exciting. And hi, I hope this works.
Did you guys watch the video at all?
I saw a little, yeah.
Because I don't remember this, but when he's talking about do your own makeup, I don't remember doing this, but There's a shot of me putting spirit gum on Fred's butt for
the hairy butt.
Shot.
Yeah,
for the hairy butt. But I don't remember just sticking hair onto his butt. So,
When Fred's talking about that he played the AMPTP president in some sort of a spoof of him, I just had a memory that I shot a whole video. Was it for the WGA? Do you remember this, Seth?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Of Fred as that guy, and it was like a industrial or something, and it was for the WGA.
He did it on Update right before the strike, which is, I will say, shout out to, it was him basically saying NBC is bad, and we did it on the show.
Yeah, it's ballsy.
You have to.
Yeah.
That's what SNL's for.
That's what SNL's for. And for those who don't know, he's in Istanbul. He's currently on the Lam. I feel like we should say that.
What is he doing there?
He's just on the Lam. He said the Lam. FYI, yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Actually, check out Fred's tour dates, because if you are in Europe right now, Fred is doing some shows in some kick-ass places.
I wonder if he'll come to Helsinki.
So yeah, Maggie Carey filmed the whole night, and we were able to see a little bit of it. And the thing that struck me immediately was how exactly of the moment the music was. So like the first song is Silver Sun Pickups, and then it goes straight into Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah. And I was just like, fuck, these songs are great. Oh, it's taking me back.
But that's also why I was so emotional, because they're very manipulative.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I remember.
Like those songs had just come out, so it was like the coolest shit you could ever put in. It was just making me laugh.
But you're still your finger's still on the pulse of music if that's still the only thing you listen to, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still a cool guy.
Yeah, it didn't do nostalgia for you, Seth, because that's what your iPod playlist is when you're jogging.
No, I'm still like, when I see like the youths at the park, I'm always like, have you been listening to Clap Your Hands?
So Seth, this is what I always say. A good song is always a good song. And that includes songs that are goofs.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like fake songs.
Yeah, fake goofs.
Yeah,
songs.
they don't lose their worth.
Sometimes those are even better than real songs.
You could argue they're better. Thanks for saying that, Yorm.
We're also talking about a video that I think Shoemaker will give us permission to share. Shoemaker just took like a 2-minute video backstage that I sent to you guys today, and it's really crazy because he really just sort of walks through this tiny little like storage closet of backstage where everybody's getting ready for the show. And it's pretty amazing because we were never, for everything SNL is, it's never that. It's never DIY with the writers and cast.
Yeah.
I teared up watching it.
I mean, our shorts were in the beginning, if you've been paying attention to the podcast.
Yorm teared up.
You got Yorm again.
Yorm is really. I do not think Finland is a fit for Yorm.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He hasn't seen his family.
Yorm's molecules are just vibrating, y'all.
It's got to come out.
The guy is channeling.
Who do we got next?
The next one I got is a writer who was there that evening and a very accomplished young man. Even at the time, had probably written 14 books or something. This is Simon Rich.
I remember the audience was completely on our side. Like a lot of them were our friends. They were really supportive of our strike. Like they could not be more aligned with us in every way. And still, my sketch only played okay.
That's what I'm saying.
A perfect memory.
That's what I'm saying.
Seth, was he one of the ones that was like, I'd really like to see it on its feet? Okay.
Everything I know about Simon, who is truly one of the great cutters of all time. Like Simon would cut a sketch from Dress to Air from like 10 pages to 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way.
And as an editor, and if you've ever read any of Simon's books, like they are so precise. There's no fat on the bone. And so I think if I had gone to Simon, he would have happily cut his sketch.
Got it. Well, good on him.
Good on him is right. But I'm glad that his memory is mine as well, which is like, it wasn't like super hot.
Keith, you got another one?
This is my last one. Harper Steele, a Late Night with Seth Meyers recent guest.
Here's what I remember. Everyone wrote original sketches for the UCB live strike show. The air was filled with electricity.
Oh.
I, on the other hand, submitted a sketch that I had already written that actually had already aired on SNL because I'm a lazy turd.
Well, her memory's not exactly right because we did not do original stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to.
I do now want to go back and see what Harper submitted.
Was it the gynecologist one?
I can't remember.
It might have been. It had that vibe.
Also, did we kind of undermine what we said about no new writing by acknowledging that Fred did a whole intro as the exec?
I think that's within the bounds of what you were allowed to do. He wrote it for the show and not for television.
There you go.
That is true. You are allowed to go write a play.
When Harper and Will were on the show, we talked about a second chance theater, Unicorn Mountain. And this was a sketch they wrote together on SNL that they want to do if the next time we do second chance theater on our show. And the idea was each of them would write half of a sketch. And Will wrote the first half, gave it to Harper. Harper wrote the second half, but Will had no idea what the second half was until the table.
I just realized that that's why I was doing it with Jost, because Harper had told me that she did that. And I was like, that's a great idea. I want to do that.
And it was the whole first 5 minutes was Will wrote a song for a kid's show called Unicorn Mountain. That's all about how it's a wonderful place where all the unicorns play and frolic and they're magic. And then it hard cut to the next, like episode 21 of Unicorn Mountain. And it was just Tracy Morgan and someone else eating a unicorn carcass and talking about how it had been so easy to catch. So keep an eye out for that. Anybody do we have more?
That's all my notes.
I think I'm tapped out.
I have a special one, you guys.
Ooh.
I reached out to Lauren.
Oh.
You know, I remember being very upset about the timing of the strike because, you know, I was really vibing with the Lonely Island at the time. I was sort of the unofficial fourth, member. Dick in a Box was my idea.
Wait. Okay.
But I told them to keep that to themselves, because, and it was good. It was good.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's kind of trailed off.
So I'm not 100% sure that was Lauren.
You didn't really talk about the strike show either. You got a little on a tangent there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe when I asked him to do it, I didn't quite understand what exactly it was supposed to be.
Got it. It was the wrong prompt.
So does anyone have a guess as to who was doing their Lauren there?
Yeah, I think Seth was.
It's hard to say.
Do you think it was Seth?
Yeah, I think it was Seth.
I tend to agree, Keith.
Yeah, that's just my theory.
That was a special one for sure.
Yeah, that was very special.
You didn't lie.
Well, I didn't know we were allowed to get goofy on here.
I like the idea of Lauren vibing with anyone.
What gave it away, dudes? What gave it away?
Oh, God.
Well, I want to say that I remember I would pick it every day, and then there was a place in the West Village that I would go sometimes with Polar, and I would have a ham and cheese quiche and a glass of red wine, and then I would just go back to my apartment and sleep. It was a pretty depressing time. But then I would wake up, and we would go out really late.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yes, but also everyone felt bad.
We all felt bad.
Okay, wait. This is the season, though, that the last 8 shows or so did come back. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay. Because the reason I don't remember hanging out with you guys at all is because I was doing Land of the Lost. So I was dressed as a little monkey boy during this whole period. I don't know. They must have gotten in. And I asked Lauren if it was okay because it was during the strike. And then that's why I missed the last 8 episodes of this season. So when we come back to do new episodes, I'll be like, what?
That movie has a scene in it that is one of the hardest things I've ever laughed at, though. When Farrell's convinced that they have to dump the dinosaur piss on themselves so it won't track them. And then it immediately starts burning all their eyes or something.
Yeah, and he keeps saying, ooh, that's early morning stuff.
Oh, yeah. That is good.
Ooh, yeah, that's early morning stuff.
He doses himself again.
Oh, my God. One more little funny.
Splash.
Oh, my
There's a
God.
funny side of that movie.
Land of the Lost, available wherever you get your movies.
Yeah. And then it doesn't work, right? The dinosaur immediately finds
immediately.
them. Yeah.
Immediately. He's attracted to it.
Like, oh, God, now we're covered in all this piss.
How many hours did it take you to get into makeup for that movie, Yorm?
It was 3.5 hours to get into the Chaco makeup. I have some really funny photos of me just wearing the head and just buck naked underneath. I also did receive a Razzie nomination for my performance. And one thing that I'm bummed about that happened is that I was trying to get myself credited as Jermac Pachoni in that movie. And my manager said, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I got the Razzie nomination, I was like, well, now.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It would have been great if it just said Jermac Pachoni. Razzie.
Yeah, that's not me. I don't know who that is.
That's not me. That's not me. Didn't you just get a Razzie nom? Nah, it's not me. Check the name.
Jermac Pachoni.
Yeah, that's some Jermac guy.
I don't even know.
Land of the Lost, these are the cast listed in order. Will Ferrell, Anna Friel, Danny McBride, Yorma Taccone, Matt Lauer, True story.
Oh,
there it is.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's end it on that.
Anyway, we are going to come back and we do 4 shows in a row, and they're 4 very different digital shorts. Shows the breadth of what you guys do. Very excited to get into it. I love you guys.
Same here, Seth.
All right, love you.
Love you guys.